What's up, everyone? Thralls of Metal back again. I am Shredlord.
Necrotic Nick.
And we are here to bring you yet another excellent album review. This time, we are reviewing California natives Dead Heat with their third album, Process of Elimination.
This also comes out on the 10th of October on Metal Blade Records. This band formed in 2016 in California. This is their third album overall, as he said. I got into this band actually kind of from seeing them live. They've been on two separate bills that I've seen with Municipal Waste. Once with like Crowbar too, which was a really interesting mix, and the other time with Ghoul, which was a lot of fucking fun. But I got their album World at War a while ago, jammed it, and noticed that it sounded remarkably like a lot of like, like early crossover bands, like namely Suicidal Tendencies, Leeway, Excel, stuff like that. And I saw that this band was coming out with a new album. I was like, you know what? Let's check it out. I don't think much has changed because these guys absolutely love like throwback crossover thrash. And yeah, no, I was absolutely right. This is just 100% 90s crossover.
I've never listened to Dead Heat. This would be my first time checking out a album by these folks. However, upon listening, I definitely feel like I've been down this road once or twice. It was a very familiar feel right out of the gate.
I mean, this is based on just, aggro riffing, a lot of like hardcore energy and just tons of like, kind of like straight up like Bay Area thrash mixed with just like nasty hardcore. Right from the rip, the opening track, Perpetual Punishment, I mean, it does one of the most tried and true tropes of thrash metal. Leads you in with a pretty, acoustic melody, like, everything's going to be sweet, nice, and then, bam, slap you across the face with the, just killer thrash riffs. It is kind of like a dusty sort of like trail sort of vibe. Like, all right, that's a little westernish. Like, it's not quite like fight fire with fire. But it does come in with some just absolutely explosive Slayer riffs, lots of gallops, raspy vocals. Dude kind of sounds a bit like, a little bit like Riley from Power Trip. It's got, good gravelly moments. There's gang vocals on here. And, when this band isn't flying with, like, D-beats and machine gun riffs, they're breaking it down and getting into, like, some, like, classic hardcore grooves.
The opening track was filled with fire, brimstone, and testosterone, which are all the proper roans that we need. However, the one thing that caught my ear immediately was the mix. I have to say, from the very beginning, I don't know if I was 100% crazy about the mix of this album for a couple reasons. Number one, the guitar tones felt like they clashed with each other.
Yeah.
And it just made things maybe a little muddy. The drums were super loud.
Yeah. A lot of reverb on the snare on, like, certain parts, especially in the faster parts where that reverb, like, you don't get that second for it to kind of, like, just open up and then kind of go away and shrink back. It still kind of keeps going. My issue was mostly with levels. Like, certain things didn't need to be as loud. Like if they brought down that second guitar a little bit more to where it was like closer to the first guitar sound, maybe it would have worked a little bit better. Same thing with the drums. Like there's points in here where the drums, they kind of drown out stuff like, gang vocals. There are points where the gang vocals get drowned out by guitars and drums, and that shouldn't happen. The gang vocals are there for like the fans to fucking yell back. Like that's, kind of that live moment brought to you on the album. And this was produced and engineered by Paul Fig, who apparently he's worked with a lot of fucking people. Like, I didn't really look him up. Shred actually did, and like, holy shit, the list here is pretty impressive. Trivium, Stone Sour, Shadows Fall, Alice in Chains. He did Black Gives Way to Blue, which I love that album.
Yeah, nice pick on the engineer-producer.
Yeah, but the results, kind of a mixed bag. At the same time, like, this band clearly wanted to go for a retro sound. Like, there's nothing about this album that sounds modern at all. And honestly, for what they're playing, it should. Like, a lot of this is just based on tried and true tropes of thrash that thrash fans are just going to gravitate to. Like, it's one of those genres where we don't want that much change. Like, maybe a little bit here and there, but, like, songs like, Hidebound and The Order, you can just kind of dazzle us with Slayer riffs and we'll just come calling with, like, beers and shit. Like, yeah, no, keep doing that thing you're doing. I've heard it a million times before, but I love it.
When we were discussing this album, Nick made a really good point. He said, in this genre, really, originality kind of takes a back seat to energy and execution. you don't really care if you hear something that breaks ground or breaks your ears in for something new. It's more about the performance and about the energy that's put behind it. To be honest, there's not many original thoughts on here, but the levels are always at 10 and the intensity is always at 10. Sometimes it bites them in the butt, so to speak. I feel like they're trying to be so busy that sometimes they had some missed opportunities. A perfect example would be a song like The Order. It's got a really good melody, really good groove going on, and then it goes into this very sick-ass riff at the end. And it was one of the best ones on the album, I feel like, and they immediately just kind of faded out. And I'm like, no, what's going on? Nick goes, don't worry, there's still a minute left of this track. I said, okay, let's hear what they got. And it was pretty much just like someone put a microphone outside of an amusement park and just kind of recorded the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's just a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, just like light ambient sounds. Like there's nothing there. Like, and they could have wrote this riff out. Oh my God. Could have harmonized it, kind of laid into that groove, maybe like double time. There were like just an open platter of different ideas. And yeah, granted, it's the most Slayer fucking riff. Well, maybe not on here because there's like 8 or 9 more riffs in here that are Slayer as fuck. But it's just got that energy. Like, you know it as soon as you hear it, and you don't want it to end right there because it just comes in and ends almost as quickly as it does come in.
Yeah, when you stumble across a really good part that just kind of pulls you in and you can feel that specialness to it, don't be afraid to ride it a little bit. I'm not saying beat it to death, but in an album full of nonstop aggression and nonstop twists and turns and everything, it would have been nice to maybe, on a couple parts that were really powerful, kind of stop and smell the roses a bit and just let it breathe.
Yeah, or like use that as like a good bridge point and then, bookend the chorus. Like Enemy. Enemy, I think, is an awesome song on here that just kind of wails on like good hardcore tropes. There's almost like a death metal-ish gallop to it. And one of my favorite parts of it is the chorus. The chorus, I think, is like just like heavier. Like it's not one of those that is like the more melodic part. It's the heaviest part of the song. And they threw in like one last gnarly chorus, which I really like. Like instead of like trying to like fade out on a riff or trying to jump around too much, they kind of just stayed the chorus with like a couple of different riffs. It was a little bit different on the bridge, like some squealy dive bomb leads and such. It was fun, but they come back with just an ultra gnarly chorus and then absolutely done with it. And I think when this band is like hardline focused on like just a few riffs, I think they're at their best. Like, that's the kind of like crossover thrash that I like, where it's like more stripped down. You're not trying to do like a lot of crazy technical stuff. Solace Denied and By My Will, they are straight to your face, just bangers, like D beats, machine gun riffs, lots and lots of like Slayerish riffs. I'm all for that. There's a little bit of like Anthrax and like, SOD kind of thrown in there too. Just solid, straightforward, riffy songs. And I think they're set up really well, like, good opening, good builds to them. But they don't try to overdo it, and I think when they do try to overdo songs, you can really feel it because then it kind of gets a little cattywampus, I guess. Yeah,
I love that.
It's a great word.
And, when it comes to the tracks Solace Denied and By My Will, I almost felt like they could have been one song. You might have been able to squeeze them together. Now, granted, it would have been a 6-minute song, and
the
MO is about 3.5 minutes, so I get it. But to me, they had a very similar vibe, and being right next to each other, it almost felt like it could have been a continuation of Solace Denied. I really liked the closing track as well, Hatred Bestowed. I thought that was a good, heavy closer. It also, at the end, because this band likes to just save the good stuff for the end, has one of the coolest riffs on the whole album at the very end to take it out. And I thought that was a nice way to do it, to kind of save it for the end of the whole end, in my end, which is for a later discussion.
Much later discussion. Actually, let's just never discuss that. That's cool.
That's fine.
I like Hatred Bestowed because it has dynamics that don't appear, I think, really anywhere else in the album. That melodic end is probably the most melodic piece on the entire album. Like, there's a acoustic break in the song, and then it goes out in this really cool, like, section of harmonized riffs, and honestly, it's a big standout. The other big standout is, honestly, the rest of the song. Like, it's got this hardcore groove of a start, like, something you could hear in, like, a Sick of It All album. And then it kind of gets into like early death metal. Like I'm talking like early death, early obituary. There's more sinister tremolos. Even the vocals get like a little bit more harsh. Like you kind of get a little bit of like Chuck's raspiness in there. It's one of the few moments on here where it feels like legit evil instead of like just, angry and rowdy. But I do think when it transitions from that to that acoustic break to the melodic end, it feels like I have like sections of 3 different songs. And this is where the getting too busy thing comes into play. The title track also kind of suffers from that. It comes in with like one of the grooviest, meanest chugs on the entire album. And it rocks it out for a while. Like, yeah, right, here we go. We got the slow Slayer song. Like, this is south of Elimination or whatever. And it does pick up to like a more mid-tempo stomp. Like, all right, that's as fast as you should be going here. Like, keep this brooding nature. But it just kind of shifts into like, one of their fast sections again. I'm like, dude, this is cool and all. Like, I love it. It's aggressive. But it sounds like a lot of the other fast sections on here, and you had a chance to make this song really stand out. Plus, it's your title track. You want the title track to stand out. I mean, at least they didn't make it a fucking intro like we've had in so many albums this year. But I feel like they missed an opportunity to make a real standout song with this one.
The only other missed opportunity I saw on this album for me was the track Seventh Gate. It doesn't really offer anything to the album. I don't really know why it's there. It makes no sense to me. It's just kind of ambient noise. But once again, it doesn't really kind of fit with anything else going on. It just sounds like a random pull.
It sounds like you're standing in line at Space Mountain in Disney World and, you can just hear the sound effects from the inside. It's like a little bit muffled and they're just like stock effects. For me, when I heard it, it's the 6th track, like, okay, that's either the end of side 1 or the beginning of side 2 if you're a vinyl collector. I'm not a vinyl collector, I'm a CD collector, so everything goes in a row. And, these moments, I know I'm supposed to like, well, if you're a vinyl collector, you flip it over. I'm not.
We don't flip.
We don't flip. So it just becomes like a thing where like, well, why is that there? And the next song is called DH Stomp, which is almost like their March the SOD. It's a simple, chuggy kind of warm-up riff. You play it. It's a short instrumental. Everyone gets hyped, and then it goes right into Solace Denied, which is an absolute ripper. So side 2 got a really good setup on here, but I don't like the whole side 1, side 2 thing. I like my albums to kind of just play through and keep momentum going, and this was a big dip in the momentum for me.
And by the way, in case you were wondering, Billy Milano doesn't like Scotty Ian. Just thought I'd throw that in there. He's not really vocal about it or anything.
Oh,
I just thought I'd throw that in there.
I know. I'm under the impression that Billy Milano doesn't like a lot of things. Like anything. Like pick a thing, and Billy Milano probably doesn't fucking like it. Is that broccoli? Fuck broccoli!
Fucking, they screwed me out of a gig once.
But overall, honestly, I thought this was pretty fun. Like, yeah, very familiar territory. But again, this is one of those styles where it kind of comes down to like execution and the energy and like, the intention behind it. And this band has it. So overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. It's fun. It's riffy. It's bombastic. It's got a lot of fucking like throwing chairs and flipping tables sort of energy that I've loved in thrash since I first became a thrash fan. And it has like that hardcore punch in the face sort of energy too that I love since I became a hardcore fan all those years ago. The songs for the most part are really well executed. I think like the only issue I really have with like some of them is they're trying to do a little bit too much and they kind of just like, all right, man, just throw more riffs on it, which is generally a pretty good move. Like, riffs are diplomatic. Everyone loves fucking riffs. But it does feel like some of these songs got a little like, bloated, or some of the songwriting was a little scattershot. But overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. It's got a lot of like old school charm, and it also reminded me that there's an awesome movie called Dead Heat with Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams and Darren McGavin, the dad from Christmas Story, and fucking Vincent Price about undead cops in fucking California. And yeah, you just gotta watch it to believe it. A lot of really weird gore effects. But yeah, this album is almost as cool as that movie. Also, if you're a big fan of Slayer, Enforced, Power Trip, XL, Suicidal Tendencies, Cryptic Slaughter, stuff like that, check this out. You're probably gonna like it.
I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 3. I thought this was a nice introduction for me to check out this band. I like what they're doing. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of high energy. They've got good things going on. They're great musicians. They execute very well. For me, it was some of the missed opportunities as far as not latching on to really strong parts, maybe more. So just a little bit of songwriting preference, I guess. Some of the sound effects, atmosphere could have been cut down, and personal preference on the mix. But overall, this was a very fun listen. Like I said, it's very high energy. It reminds me of glory days that are long, long gone. And it's definitely something to get into if you're a crossover thrash fan. Without a doubt, this is absolutely up your alley.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They are only 99 cents, and Alone Perk is doing a members-only live stream, which we will probably do at some point this month. Who knows, maybe sometime around Halloween. We will probably let you know in the whole community thing. Either way, membership's the main way to support the channel, and if you would like to join up, there's a join button down here, and
smack the shit out of it.
Just hit the hell out of it. And
it's crossover thrash.
Yeah.
Smack the shit out of it.
There you go. Fucking mosh on that thing. Stage dive on it. Drop a fucking elbow on it. Fucking get the cops calling on you. All right, maybe not that far.
And last but certainly not least, thank you, the viewers. Thanks to each and every one of you that takes the time out of your day to spend with us, watch our content, comment on the videos, and give your opinions on all things that we love, which is, of course, metal. So from the bottom of our black and golden hearts, we love you all. We want to make love to each and every one of you, but because of time constraints and probably a lot of other constraints I'm not even thinking of.
So many constraints.
We'll just keep it with a thank you, a deep, heartfelt thank you.
Yeah, like a nice handshake, and like that's all the physical contact I think we're gonna have. Sorry, Shred. But yeah, you guys are absolutely awesome. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you, because you guys rule, and we will catch you later.